DoreOnTour back again, and yes, another special Nottingham Forest interview. And yes, again, I've got ex-Nottingham Forest and Wales international Dougie Freedman. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. You?
I'm all good. This pandemic is a bit pain in the bum, but we're all going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, yes, thank you very much, Danny, for taking your time for coming on the channel. If no one knows who Danny Collins is, he was there for quite a while, but there's so much questions that I've got to ask you from your start to the finish, Danny.
Okay.
So let's start, Danny. When did you first know that Forest was interested in you?
It was a bit of a strange one, actually. We were just about to go on pre-season tour with Stoke. We were in the airport, actually, down in Heathrow, I think, and literally as we were about to go through the boarding, I spoke to my agent and he said, I think Nottingham Forest are interested in taking you. So I spoke to the manager, Tony Pulis, and I said, I think something's happening at Forest. I was in my third season at Stoke at the time, and I was perhaps looking to get away as well. And he said, don't miss out on your fitness and that, come with us and then we'll see if something happens further down the line. So anyway, we flew all the way to, I think was it North Carolina? I'm not sure where we went now, but anyway, we went somewhere in the States. I was only there for a day or so, and then a deal obviously got agreed with Forest. So then I had to get back on a plane and fly back. So it was at the end of June, I think, wasn't it? So that was that. So come back. Next day, went down the city ground and got signed up. 3-year deal. Wow.
So I think it was O'Driscoll as manager. Did you give you come and join? This is what happened at Forest. This is what happened at Forest. Was it good to sign for Nottingham Forest as a big club?
Yeah, of course. I knew the history of Nottingham Forest and where they were looking to get back to. They've had I think prior to me coming there a couple of seasons before, it might have been the season before, the playoffs, they'd come close a couple of times. I think I remember you had was it Swansea?
Swansea
in the Swansea in the semis, wasn't it? Yeah, that was I remember that one. But no, I knew coming into it that as I say, the history of the club with winning the European Cups, and just that they were trying to push to get back to the Premier League, as a lot of teams obviously are in the Championship, really. Yeah. So no, to come in, I knew one or two of the lads that were there.
Who did you know?
Andy Reid, obviously from my time up at Sunderland. Reedy was up there with us and that. Trying to think who else was there now, but so Reedy straight away. So I was speaking to him, and then just as I say, get signed up and then settled in pretty quick. Really, I think we started off with was it the League Cup game away at Fleetwood?
Yeah.
And I had a 1-0 win there. And that. So that was it. Then straight in and straight playing. Yeah.
What was your first training session like with Forest?
I can't remember. In terms of Sean O'Driscoll, he's quite different to a lot of other managers. He's not. He's quite quiet. He thinks quite deep, and in terms of the game, his sessions were well thought out. Really, not really. You get some managers who are a bit of a ranter and a raver in the changing rooms. He wasn't really that type. He was quite quiet and got his points across in a different way.
Yep.
In terms of the training, it was. He'd get us in groups really sometimes. He'd lay cones out and say, this is how, looking at the shape of what we're looking to play today. And a lot of stuff in the meeting rooms, you'd have to be on your toes because he'd fire questions at you. So sometimes you can be in them meeting rooms and it's quite dark and that, and some lads tend to drift off after lunch. But with Sean, you'd have to be on your toes because he'd fire questions at the lads and he'd sort of, he'd be drifting. He'd say, so-and-so, what would you do in that situation? So you'd have, what I mean? He'd spot the lads into life. But so he was different, Sean.
Yeah. Like I said, you made your debut at Fleetwood, but then you made your debut at the City Ground against Bristol City. I know you played against Forest before that with, I think it was with Ipswich, but I'll talk about that later. What was it like making your debut at the City Ground against a sold-out crowd?
Yeah, great. The City Ground's one of them old school grounds. It's nice and compact. For me, it's a bit like I used to like White Hart Lane playing at Spurs. It was a good crowd and 30,000, but nice and tight on the pitch. I just think in this day and age they build these big stadiums. I've played at say the Emirates, which is a nice ground, but it doesn't feel like the crowd feels far away and the atmosphere dies a bit for me. So the City Ground is a good old school English ground, as you say, when you've got the atmosphere in there. It's a good place to go out there and play, and as you say, when you're getting the results and you're winning games, that obviously helps and brings the crowd into play as well.
You was club captain, weren't you? What did you just come in your club captain?
Yeah, Sean made me the captain when I came in. He did, yeah.
Yeah, how does it feel making club captain for Forest?
Yeah, it's great honour, as you say. I'd captained at Sunderland. Steve Bruce had made me the captain there, although then I wasn't there too long, and then I went to Stoke. And I just think, obviously, with my age coming into Forest, I think I was probably 33, 34 when I signed. So
you'd rather the oldest there.
Yeah, so that sort of experienced centre half, you sort of see everything from the back, that type of character. And yeah, I think it was at the Fleetwood game, actually, in the change rooms beforehand. He just said Danny's going to be the captain this season.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, of course, it's certainly an honour to captain the team. Of course, it is. Yeah.
So, like, as you know, like you made a good start. I think, let's say you won against Bristol City 1-0, and then from the start of the season till December, your form was going up and down, up and down. Was you a bit worried about what was happening with the form on the pitch?
No, not really. I think we were still in a good place. I think you're going to have mixed results. We had a lot of new players come into the team as well, if I remember as well. And there was a bit of, I'd say when you're getting a big changeover in players, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we were gelling, but we were still right in amongst it, weren't we, in the pack? And I think, as you say, when we got to getting up towards Christmas, and it was obviously we beat Leeds 4-2 Boxing Day.
Yeah, I will talk about that. I will talk about that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're on about asking me in terms of results, it's quite a long time ago now, and I've played a lot of football since. But I just remember, we were doing okay, I thought, and we were pretty close to the pack. And now I know we have the owners who come in who were pushing, and they wanted to kick on.
I will talk about that as well. I will talk about that.
Yeah, get us pushing towards obviously the Premier League, and as I say, there's a lot of teams in that Championship who are all after the same thing. A lot of the teams have been in the Premier League before. They all want to get back there, and it's not that easy, is it? So. No. It was interesting, but yeah, I think results were going okay, I'd say.
Like I said, you mentioned the league game. Let's talk about that game. You won 4-2, and big game. How did you feel? Like 4-2 at the City Ground. I think it was Boxing Day, wasn't it?
It was Boxing Day. Yeah, it was.
How did you feel about that game?
Well, of course, Leeds coming there, they had a big following as well, didn't they? It's Boxing Day, so you get the big crowd and everyone's coming out after the Christmas dinners the next day, and and you go out and we beat Leeds 4-2, great results. I think we were then 8th in the table, a point off the play. We're only a point off the playoffs.
Yep.
And then later that night, it's all going mad on the internet, and then Sean's been sacked. So lads are like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah. How did you feel about Danny? How did you feel about? Like what I heard, this is what I heard. He said he spoke to players beforehand, and when did you know? When he got sacked?
Yeah, I don't know whether he was expecting it or what, because I don't know what his relationship was like, obviously with Fawaz, and again we'll get into it later on in terms of with Billy and Fawaz. I know stuff went on between them, so I don't know what had been said, whether Sean was expecting it. So for him, it's nice for him to go out on a high with a good win against a big team in Leeds United, but from the outside looking in, people are going to be saying, well, hold on, what's going on here? Forest are in a pretty good position. They're only a point off the playoffs. They've just had a great win on Boxing Day against one of the other big teams in the Championship. Why does he have the sack? I mean, I've seen since, and I've heard comments that perhaps Fowers had spoke to owners or some or other clubs, and they said you need to get somebody in with Premier League experience to take it to the next level or something. So, a bit strange for me. So.
Like Chris got sacked, and then Alex McLeish come in. How did you feel when Alex McLeish came in?
Yeah, I think he came in. It was the next day or a couple of days after, and I just remember he wasn't there long. He was only there a month and a half, 2 months. Yeah, 40 odd days. Yeah. From what I remember, I got on okay with him. On the training pitch, he was okay, but I don't think results went too good for him early on. We took a few games to get a result under him, didn't we? I think.
Yeah.
And then it was all to do with the George Boyd situation. I think he wanted to bring George Boyd.
How did you feel about it? How did you feel about George Boyd? Like, what behind the scenes? I know it's hard for players saying, we focus on the pitch, blah, 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 but players, come on, they must talk about it. Yeah, of course you do. When coming off the training pitch, and there's always chat around the training ground, and I think it was something to come out where he failed an eye test. When you got the doctors and you have them eye tests where they start with the big letters and they get smaller. Now, apparently, I think the lads had asked the phys, and he did say, he got halfway down. He didn't get as far as what you can do. But I mean, come on,
we're talking about football here, is it's seeing a white football coming at you from 5 yards as opposed to reading the line. I think the Peterborough chairman had a bit of a dig after it, didn't he? Actually,
he did.
He put some clips on of some of his goals and said, well, his eyesight's not too bad in these clips, is it? So I just think it was to do with Fowers. I don't think he wanted to sign him, so he sort of overruled it, and I think that was what riled Alex McLeish, and I think he just come to an agreement and terminated his contract, didn't he? I think.
Yeah. As a player, like George Boyd, he was a good player. Like, I think at that time you needed like in January you need players to get a step higher. And like, was you frustrated like players like George Boyd didn't sign for Forest?
Yeah, I think he was doing well, as you say, in the Championship. He was doing well for Peterborough. Well, no disrespect to Peterborough, but they're not really classed as a big team in the Championship, are they? And he was doing well there, and as you say, well, as the Peterborough chairman pointed out, he was chipping in with some good goals for them. So yeah, I think he would have been a good addition to the squad. But then I think it was a few days later he signed for Hull, didn't he? And he actually scored for Hull and give it the old glasses celebration. So.
that was good. I watched that game. It was mad.
Yeah. So, but no, like I say, it was one of those things. I just think Alex McLeish sort of just wasn't happy working with the owners, how they wanted to do things, the influence they were trying to have on the team selection and everything that was going on, and that just wasn't for him. And he had enough, and he just he basically resigned, didn't he? I think so.
Yeah. As you know, like McLeish got sacked after 40 days, and it's weird because like it was Billy Davies coming on his second spell.
Yeah.
Did like the players have a part of him bringing him back to the club? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's still players there who played for Billy before. You know, the likes of Chris Cohen. I think Reedy had obviously played with him. There's one or two others who knew him. Yeah, and he's a different type of manager, isn't he, Billy? He's quite outspoken. He's good in terms of the way he fires the lads up. You know, he gets amongst the lads on the training pitch, and he demands from the lads. You know, you get all different types of managers. I've had 20, 30 odd managers in my career, and he's more of the type of, I'd say, like a Roy Keane type, really. You know, as opposed to some of the other relaxed Sean O'Driscoll type. But no, he came in, and I think he got us going again. And we were right up there, weren't we, into the playoffs, right the way until the end of the season, where we came close to nicking into the playoffs on the last day.
It's weird because I know, like, Billy Davies, he was a strong-minded person, and the things, as you know, those things happen behind the scenes with a media blackout, and players couldn't interview the players. Did that annoy you? Like, you couldn't talk to the fans and that. No,
it's not so much it annoys. I just think that as a manager, then really, if you're doing that sort of thing, you're making a rod for your own back in terms of if results don't start going, and then you're trying to have that divide between yourself and the media. You're not going to come out well, are you? If results aren't going well, I think you've always got to. If you don't agree with some of the things that the media are saying, you've always got to have that rapport, and you've got to have that communication with them, and let the players do the media work and stuff as well. So. Yeah, I think at times he could be a bit headstrong, really, Billy, and you know, one or two decisions he made perhaps weren't certainly what the media were looking for, and but that's just his type of character, I suppose.
You mentioned about the last game of the season against Leicester. You was pushing for the playoffs. That game, I think we lost 3-2, and I think it was Knockhard scored in the last minute.
Yeah.
Was before the game was Billy Davies like said we got to win. I think it was the last 5 minutes. I sure it was you or Elliot Ward pushed up front.
No, I remember it well. No, so yeah, we were. I think Bolton was 6th, we were 7th, and Leicester were in 8th, I think. But Leicester had the best goal difference. So we heard that I think Bolton were either winning or drawing, perhaps drawing. So we knew we needed to score to go above them. But at the same time, if Leicester had scored, it was 2-2, wasn't it? So if Leicester had scored, they'd have leapfrogged the pair of us, and and that's what happened. But last minute of the game, I think Raddy tried. I think Elliot had gone up front or someone else. So I was back on the halfway line. I think Raddy Madieski tried to thread the ball. It got cut out, and the next minute there was like 3 Leicester lads running at me. One, 2 of me on the halfway line, and then like you say, Knockhard scored.
There's a picture of you. I seen it yesterday. I think it was you and 3 players going to attack on you. I saw Knockhard score, and you was like on the floor. So I was like, oh god. But,
so Leicester scored. Was that the season they might have when did Watford not beat them? Because I think Knockhard missed them, and they had a chance, and Troy Deeney scored at the other end, didn't he? So that was the one. So yeah, we come that close, as I say, to finish 8th was obviously disappointing, but going to the last day of the season, you know, thinking if we win today, we can get into the playoffs, but it wasn't to be. It was obviously a disappointment that we didn't sneak in.
So the 2013-2014 season, Billy Davies brought quite a lot of players in. I think he brought in Jack Hobbs, and he spent a lot of money. Yeah. And would you I would say ready for competition, like players coming in?
No, you've always got to be, looking for competition. I think it's good when, the manager's bringing players in. I see it as a challenge. If he brings, someone comes in your position, you can go one or two ways. You can either sulk and think, oh, that's it, he's coming to replace me, or you can roll your sleeves up and think, I'm going to fight for the shirt, as it should be. I think, you want competition. If you're going to be a team who want to push on and looking to get promoted, you need that strength and depth in the squad. I think that start of that season, the only thing that did disappoint me was that I'd started the first game of the season, I can't remember what it was, but we won 1-0, I played, and then he brought Kelvin in. Say on the Thursday, I think. And then we went to Blackburn. Billy didn't. Yeah, we won, but Billy didn't name the team. We went in the meeting room at say 1:30, and he flipped the chart over, and obviously Kelvin had come straight in and took me place. So that's what annoyed me more than anything, rather than obviously for Billy not to pull me and say, Kelvin's going to play. So that's what, as a player, you just want your manager to, your man management, I think, is massive, and that was the only thing that disappointed me that day, if I remember it. And that he brought him in, nothing to do with him bringing him in, more the fact that he didn't pull me aside, just say, listen, I'm going to go with Kelvin today, bloody blah. I just said, right, okay. But when you think you're probably playing at 1:30, and then, you find out an hour before you go out for the warm up that you're not playing, it's a bit of a blow, should we say?
Oh, that is annoying as well. That is sad. As you, Danny, you played in quite a few East Midland derbies, and the first game I'm going to mention was we beat Forest 1-0. Jack Hobbs scored. Was you ready? What was the players ready? What was the players' reaction? Really oh, we got Derby. Billy Davies knows what to do. How was you feeling before the game?
Yeah, I played in a few of them, about 4 or 5 maybe, and I think that's when I'd just come back into the squad. Actually, I think I'd been out with 3 or 4 games. I'm not sure, but then to come back in at the City ground as well. Yeah, I remember Hobbsy scoring the header off the corner. I was just in behind him, and it was a great feeling, great noise when it went in, and of course you want to beat your local rivals. I played in 5 or 6, Sunderland, Newcastle derbies up here, and the atmosphere is ridiculous, and you just know what it's all about in terms of the bragging rights for the fans. When they're going to work on a Monday morning, and to come back in to get the clean sheet and to come, to beat your local rivals, it's a great feeling.
I want to mention, and I do apologise for this, the Derby away game when you lost 5-0.
5-0, yeah.
Yeah. What happened in that game?
Again, trying to remember it back, I think we didn't get off to a good start. Was that the game that it was the lad in midfield? Yeah, no, he scored a hat-trick. I was going to say
Bryson.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Bryson, yeah. No, I think he scored a couple early on, didn't he? Similar goals. I think he might have ran off the back of Guy Moussi that day, if I remember. And he scored a couple, and then obviously we just didn't recover. And again, as good as the other game is, when you beat your rivals on your home patch, to go and get beat 4 or 5-0, regardless of whether it's home or away, to lose it in that manner in which we did, it's disappointing. And as I say, you feel like you're letting not just the club down, but the fan base and the expectancy of going out there to beat them.
As you know, Billy Davies got sacked after the game, and there was things happening, like I said, regarding fouls and everything and blah. How did you feel with Billy Davies getting sacked and the things that was happening with I'm not going to mention his personal life. He got sacked.
Yeah.
And how did you feel as a player when that happened?
Well, certainly not expected, because I had 6 managers in 3 years at Forest. So, no, and it's continued since, hasn't it? But no. When a manager loses his job, but when we had the chairman, we did, who was quite trigger happy, and to go and get beat, as you say, against your local rivals 5-0, then that's what happens. I think actually in the game when we won 1-0 at home, I think Nigel Clough got sacked from Derby, if I remember rightly. I think Keogh got sent off in that game, and so it happens, doesn't it? But that's what managers these days, you lose. You can go from being the best manager in the world when you're on a good run, as it was with Stuart Pearce, which I'm sure you'll touch on, where you can be on top, you're flying, results are going well, and then you lose 3 or 4 games, and everyone's questioning the manager and whether he should go. So yeah, that's what happens.
You mentioned Stuart Pearce, like I believe he's got sacked. I think who was it between Davies got sacked? Was it Gary Brazil?
Gary.
Everyone talks about that. Like Gary Brazil, he's a fantastic youth developer. What was it like working under him?
Yeah, he's okay. I like Gary. We've seen him in and around the training ground at the academy as well, and knowing he was doing a good job with the 21s, and then he was sort of the go-to man, really. I think he's been caretaker manager 3 or 4 times as well.
Three times.
Yeah. He's a great bloke. He's keen and enthusiastic on the training pitches, and I enjoyed working with Gary. Yeah.
You mentioned Stuart Pearce, a legend at Nottingham Forest. Personally, I don't rate him. He's a fantastic player, but I don't rate him as a manager. Do you think Forest fans might mention this, like to you? Do you think it was more like to keep the fans happy with Fawaz bringing them in?
I think he'd gone down the route, hadn't he, of thinking, what can I do to lift the place to get the crowd up? And obviously with Stuart, with his reputation and his rapport with the fans and his career he had at Forest, I think he was hoping that he could come in, he could take us to that next level, and just to get a lift round the place, isn't it, really, by bringing it back a club legend. And as you say, got off to the season he came in, got off to a good start and won 7 of the first 10 games, I think.
Yeah, but I think it was I think what the game was. I think it was Derby game. There players like Reed, Chris Cohen, Jack Hobbs. They got injured. Matt Fry as well. And it was just going from downhill. As a player, what was you feeling about just what was happening?
Go back to when he came in, Stuart. We went to Portugal pre-season, and obviously, it was captain. He's chatting to me and everything, and asking sort of 1 or 2 things about the lads and everything. And then when we got back home. He called me into his office a few days before the season was due to start, and he said something, if I remember, like, when all the centre halves are fit, you might be just down the order. I was like, oh right, okay. So I went, right, well, I said, well, 1 or 2 are injured at the minute, so if I get the shirt for the first game of the season and I do well, will I stay in the team? He went, yes, you will. I went, right, that's all I need to know. And that was it. So I come out of the office, got home, and then that afternoon on Sky Sports News, he put me on the transfer list for somebody else. I can't remember who it was now. So
no, did he?
Yeah, exactly. So that disappoints me, that the fact that he didn't have the cojones to just say to me in his office, oh, I'm going to put you on the transfer list, to do it behind my back sort of thing, was a bit disappointing. And then I don't think I was in any of his squads then. I wasn't.
No, definitely was.
I wasn't in any of the squads until obviously he got sacked and Dougie Freedman came in. So that was man management again for me, very disappointing.
It was weird because, like I said, I think it was like you, Jack Hobbs, Lascelles, I think, was there as well. And
Mancian came in, didn't he?
Was that?
Michael Mancian, he brought Michael Mancian.
Michael Mancian coming in as well. And it was a weird situation, like I said, he wasn't playing, but I think it was Danny Fox. Danny Fox was playing as centre back as well. And
Foxy played a few games.
Yeah, we had so many centre backs. Like, good player, Danny Fox, but when it frustrated, like a left back playing centre back, and just because you was left footed, didn't that frustrate you a little bit?
Yeah, well, it just frustrates you when you're not playing, and as a player you want to go out and play. You train all week, don't you? And you want something at the end of the week is to play. And I know a manager can only keep 11 lads happy, but as I say, to go from to playing all pre-season and everything, to be involved, and a few days before the start of the season to find out that basically I'm not in his plans, and the fact that he didn't have, what should we say, the balls to tell me to my face, rather than to just drop it on, to find out that way, was more disappointing, and not give me time, or if I'm not in his plans, to give me time to go and sort something else out. Like, so that was the disappointing thing for me under Stuart. But yeah, I can't remember now whether sat down. I didn't get back in the team till Dougie Freedman came in. Was it in February or something like that? So, and from Stuart going, we were going well for the first 2 or 3 months. We were up the top of the table, and then went on a bad run, and then obviously he got the sack, and Dougie came in, and Dougie called me in. He said, listen, I don't know what's gone on in the past, but I just think we need a bit of experience back out there. Are you feeling fit to go back out? And that was it. So I trained Tuesday, Thursday, Friday again. Well, I'd been training anyway with the lads, but I wasn't in the squads, and then he just brought me straight back in, and we went down to Brighton and won.
Yeah, I want to mention about the Brighton game. I just be like, Dougie Freedman brought you back in, and I've got a clip of you scoring against Brighton. Was you excited to score your goal against Brighton?
Yeah, I mean, first up, just to be back out there, as I say, you want to be playing as a player. You get paid to go out and play football, and to get back out in there to start, go down to Brighton, a nice stadium, and to get the goal. Yes, it was a great feeling. A bit of frustration in the celebration as well, I think.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, to get the goal first up was to win the game really, and to get back on the bus with the 3 points was a great feeling. Yeah.
Other thing that what was the else to mention? The Dougie Freedman, like, as you know, there's still situations with Fawaz and all that. With the embargo as well. What did you feel sorry for Freeman? Like, you couldn't bring in players that you wanted.
No, well, just going back to Fawaz, I think something we didn't touch on before was under Billy Davies, actually. So obviously, Billy would get frustrated with him as well, because I know he'd bring players in. I think he brought the 2 Algerians lads in. Jabor came in, and it was the other one, the winger we had.
Adomo. I've got his name now. Jabor and Adomo. I can't say his name now.
No, yeah, the little winger we had as well. So obviously Fawaz brought these in. I remember Billy saying, right, I better go and have a look at these lads on the training ground because I haven't got a clue who they are. So
really?
So Billy was obviously frustrated that he was bringing these players. And then I remember he told me, I spoke to Billy on the bus on the way to games, and he said like Fawaz would be dropping him a message to say, this is the team I want you to play today.
No.
So Billy was like, listen, this is the team I'm playing. If he wants to sack me, he can sack me, but I'm here to manage the team. So I'm going to pick the team I want. So yeah, so I think for me, and you see it at other clubs as well, I think as a chairman, yeah, you want the best for your club, of course you do. But if you're employing a manager, let him do his job.
Yeah.
If you want to be the manager yourself, go and do your badges and come and manage the team. But you're the chairman, so just be in the background a little bit more and let the manager manage the team. So Billy was getting frustrated with it.
Did you? I know there's a bit there's a bit about Fawaz wasn't paying the players. Was that true?
Yeah. Remembering back, there was 1 or 2 of the lads I think used to go and see the secretary at the training ground, and they were missing stuff out of their wages. And I think there was 1 or 2 bills not getting paid around the training ground. I think he was a bit relaxed, shall we say, in terms of paying some of the bills, but. I again, remembering back from myself, I can't remember being too many issues in terms of getting the wages. But I just think with the chairman, I just think perhaps be a little bit more in the background. He was a bit, he liked to be on Twitter, I think, didn't he? And
yeah, that's frustrating. That was really frustrating.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I just think to look at some of the other clubs, I think where the chairman just be the chairman in the background. If you're doing well, you're bringing players in. That goes noticed, doesn't go unnoticed, should I say, with the fans that you're obviously putting your money in to bring the players in. So, but yeah, moving on to Dougie, I think he came in, didn't he? And again, we had a good run of games. Say it was nice to come back in and to be a part of that. And well, I squeezed a few games in before the end of the season. Yeah.
Right, so I got quite a few questions from quite a lot of Forest fans that wanted to ask you. Who was your best centre back? Not for just Forest, as a player. Who was your best centre back player you played alongside with?
Question. I think now. So centre half. So Sunderland would have been Stevie Caldwell, maybe. Stevie Caldwell.
Scottish international.
Yeah, Stevie. Obviously Anton Ferdinand came in up there as well. So I had a few, but I mixed there. I played a lot of games at left back and a lot of, half at centre half. So I was sort of flittering between the 2 positions up there, really. Stoke, I wasn't really at centre half. It was Houthi and Robert Huth, and Ryan played centre half. So I played all my games at left back there.
Yeah.
But at Forest, I would say Jack Hobbs probably.
Yeah, that game against Derby, I remember it so well. You and Jack Hobbs were fantastic, and I was, like I said, with you, I think we touched on it. You said you wasn't playing that much. It was Kelvin Wilson, and when I saw you and Jack Hobbs, I was thinking, Jack Collins is back against the East Midlands Derby. I was like, wow. But after the game, I thought you, Jack Hobbs, were fantastic.
Yeah, from the game, I remember it was because, as you say, I hadn't been playing for 4 or 5 weeks and that. So to come back in, you've got the local rivals, and it was a hot day. I think it was a hot day as well.
Really hot day.
Yeah, I remember it being hot as well. I think, oh, am I going to get through the game here? But no, as you say, managed to get through and keep the clean sheet. So.
Just a quick question, Johnny. When you joined Forest, I know everyone has a singer-song in front of the players. Did you have a song?
Not at Forest. Up at Sunderland, I did. Yeah.
What song did you sing? What song did you sing?
There's some swearing words in there as well, so I can't.
No, I'll beep it out. Don't worry about it.
It's a song about playing for Brazil. I'm not sure who's came up with it or why, but so it's along the lines of, for Brazil, he should play up front. Danny Collins is a skillful beep.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Who's the best manager that you've ever played with?
Best manager I played for, I would say Mick McCarthy. He signed me at Sunderland 2004. And when people ask you about the types of managers, and the big thing for me, and as I've touched on here, is man management is half the battle. Well, it's more than half of the battle for me. Be honest with if you're honest with the player, tell them as it is. Don't bullshit the players. Just be honest. Mick used to, if Mick had called lads in on a Friday, you'd see him hooking lads on the corridor, can I have a word? They knew they were probably getting dropped, but at least he'd explain to them. You get some managers who will always say, my office is always open, lads, if you want to come in and give me a knock. They say it, but I don't think they really mean it. And I've had one or two at Forest who have said that and don't mean it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Mick, he's honest. He tells it as it is, but at the same time, he'd like to have a laugh with the lads around the training ground. But when it was time to work, he could, he'd switch that switch and he'd be serious. And but he just ticked all the boxes as what you'd want from a manager, I think.
Forest, what's mentioned, did you do any jokes at Forest, like away games or the training ground? Any jokes with anyone?
Who were Matt Derbyshire obviously was there with them. I'm still good mates with Matt Darbs now, and I was at Rotherham with him obviously after as well. And he was a bit of a prankster around the training ground and stuff. He was a couple of lockers down from me as well at the training ground. So yeah, there was one or two in there. Jamie Patterson,
he was one.
Bit of banter in there as well, and that but no, I know a lot of lads say, lads will always come on and do these podcasts and speak. We had a good set of lads, but we did, at Forest, I think we did have a good set of boys. When you've got a few of the foreigners in there, Eric Leigh was a bit of a strange character. Yeah. A good lad. Guy Moosey, Raddy, Majewski. So we had one or two in there. Lewis McGugan. Yeah. Simon Cox. Just remembering all these sort of joker lads. Yeah, we had some, a good mixed bag of lads in there, really, in terms of the banter.
Yep. Well, at the end of your time at Forest, what was your best memories at the City Ground?
At the City Ground, it's good to score as a centre half. It's good to go and score. In terms of Forest, was obviously coming back into the team at Brighton and to score. And I think the goal I got was down against Ipswich for Forest as well, a header off a Foxy corner. But no, I just think just the first year really, and going out there, and I think I played 45 games that first season, and to have a good season, I say we just come up that little bit short, didn't we? But when you've had three managers, when you're having three managers in the season, yet you're having a good season, it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? So usually when you're having three managers, there's a reason, and it's usually because your results aren't going well and you're down the bottom of the table scrapping for your lives. But that wasn't the case. So I think that's perhaps unsettled us a little bit in terms of having that, the managers and then their different ideas coming in. And I'd say just to finish 8th, just coming up 2 places short of being into the playoffs and having a go of it. But yeah, that first season's probably my best memories of being at Forest. What
was your worst moment at Forest?
Just the time being out of the team under Stuart Pearce, in the manner in which it happened as well. Really, when you train all week as well, and you can see the lads are getting ready for the game and that, and you don't feel part of it, and you feel like an outcast really in a way. It's disappointing. And so August through to February, like 4 or 5 months out in the cold really. And then I'd say until Dougie came in and brought me straight back in, it was disappointing. And just at the end of that as well, because when I did get back in, I played 8 games there. I think we've won 6, drew 1, lost 1. So to come back in and to feel part of it again, we're winning games. And then I did speak to Dougie, because funnily enough, I had the same agent as Dougie at the time.
Okay.
And Yeah, and I think we beat on the Tuesday. It was a night game. It was the night Britta Sombalonga broke his leg, actually, his knee, when it's dislocated. Do you remember? We beat Wigan. It was Wigan 4-1. I think we beat Wigan 4-1 at home.
Yeah. I remember that game. Yeah.
And then I spoke to my agent the day after. He said, "Oh, go." I think he said something like, "Go and speak to Dougie. I think he's waiting to, discuss a new contract." I was like, "All right." He said, "Good time to go and speak to him. We're on a good run. I think we've won 4 of the last 5 games. I was back in the team doing well." And I spoke to Dougie and he said, "Oh, I'm not sure." He said, "Listen," he said, "I don't know if I'm going to be at the end of the season," because he was only on a short contract.
Yeah.
He said, "Just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure the contract will take care of itself." I was like, "Right, okay." And then the next game, I don't know whether Fowers had spoken. I don't think Fowers wanted to keep me at the club, if we're honest, because then we played Middlesbrough. And then Dougie had said in training, he said, "Listen, I need to have a look at 1 or 2 of the other lads to make a decision on them as well, because they haven't been playing." But he said, "Listen, you're not dropped. I'm just going to give you a rest. I need to have a look at these lads." I said, "Right, okay, no problem." So we played Middlesbrough on the Saturday. I think I came on. We won. Did we win 1-0 or it was 1-0? I think we might have won 1-0.
1-0.
I came on last.
1-0.
Yeah.
1-0. Yep.
We were under a bit of pressure, so he chucked me on last few minutes just to head a few balls out and that, and then that was it. Then I didn't come back. I think I'll come back in the next game now, because he's had a look at. And then I didn't come back in. And then a couple of games later, he said we were away at Brentford, I think, and he said, "Oh, listen," he said, "I don't really, there's no point in you taking you down there, experienced pro. I don't want to take you all the way down there to keep you on the bench and all this." So I thought, well, hold on, I've gone from playing to being rested, because you need to have a look at a couple of other lads. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't getting back in, and there was only about 5-6 games left of the season then. And then that was it. I never kicked the ball again. And then it just didn't really speak to him after that. It was a strange one. He called me in on the last day of the season after training. You all have your individual meetings.
Yeah.
Called me into his office and he just went, "Oh, thanks for what you've done for us, but no, we won't be offering you a new deal." I was like, "All right, okay," and that was that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's horrible. So, you touched on like Fowers a few times. Did you have any bad experience with him while he was at the club?
No, not really. In terms of personal, a one-to-one, he spoke to me a few times. He spoke to me on the phone. With me being the captain and I say one of the experienced lads, he called me now and then and asked me opinion on 1 or 2 things. But no, not in terms of anything out of the ordinary, really. I remember, I think we went for dinner one night to, is it Chino Latinos and that, and he was there. We went for a team evening for a meal, and he was speaking to 1 or 2 lads who were out of contract. I think he was, while we were in the restaurant having dinner, he was trying to organise contracts with lads, calling one at a time across the other side of the room, having a bit of a chat with lads, just discussing their contracts and stuff with them and that. Yeah, so that's a bit strange, as you say, but
wow.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that was mad. Like I said, you left Nottingham Forest. Was you gutted leaving Forest?
No, do you know what about Forest? I enjoyed it. I think it's a good club. I think the training ground's excellent. I think it's a good club. Just needs to have the right person in charge of it, really. And as you say there, since I've left, I was looking before. I think you've had 9 managers in the 4 or 5 years since I've left, which is. Obviously, that to me stinks of something's not right at the club, and I know they're grafting and they're trying to get to the Premier League. Came close last season. You made a bit of a mess of it, didn't you, on the last day of the season by not getting into the playoffs. But I just think it was the time for me to move on there. Obviously, from the first year I played, near enough and ever present, to then go to playing about 25 games, and then my last year when I played 8 games, unless somebody was going to come in who wanted to keep me and said, we're going to give you another year extension on your contract, but that didn't happen. I just thought it was a time to move on. As I say, I had 6 managers in 3 seasons there. So yeah, for me and for Forest, it was perhaps the right time for me to move on. And obviously, I went to Rotherham the next season.
Oh, right. You're going to laugh about this story about Rotherham. Like I said, you went to Rotherham. And there's a story I'm going to tell you about this. You're going to laugh. Basically, you had a good habit of scoring against Forest all the time, and then you scored 2 for Ipswich.
Yeah, at the City Ground. Yeah,
City Ground. And then this is the story I'm going to tell you, Danny. You came to Forest with Rotherham, and I saw your name on the score sheet, and I said to people, Dan Connor's going to score. He's going to score because he always scores for Forest. And you was 30-1 to score a goal for Rotherham. And all my Forest friends, he's not going to score. He didn't score for Forest, blah, blah. He scored 2. I put a 5 on it. He was 30-1. Yeah. And how long did it take you to score, Danny? I said to everyone, Danny Collins scored in the first 5 minutes. And I said to everyone...
yeah, what was it? Header.
Header.
Yeah. So,
because I said you I don't know who it was. Like, you scored 2 for Ipswich, 1 for Rotherham. I don't know who the other club you scored against Forest, but you just had a good habit scoring past Forest all the time.
Yeah, I got a few against. It's weird how it works. And as you say, so I scored for Ipswich against Forest, then I scored for Forest against Ipswich, didn't I? Yeah, that's right. So. Yeah, it's just weird how it works for some clubs and that. But no, again, I remember that game. It was early on in the season. It wasn't the first game of the season, was it? Second game of the season. Yeah, it was a hot day as well. Yeah, it was a hot one, and I think Forest won 3-2 in the end, didn't they?
No, 2-1. It was 2-1.
2-1. That's right. Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's funny because I think after full time I shouted, thanks Danny for giving me 150 quid on the Forest match. They were laughing their head off. You cheeky sod. Like I said, every single time he's on the score. He's on the score. I thought he's going to do something today. He's going to score, and it took 5 minutes. Last but not least, Danny. Forest season so far. Like, what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with me working at Sunderland, I keep doing League One really, aren't I? So, but I do have a look at results, and I see that you've obviously been struggling along with Derby. So the two of you are both down the bottom of the table, which is unexpected, really, isn't it? And again, with Chris Hughton coming in, who I've not played for him, but everyone who I've spoke to who've played for him speak of him highly and regard him as a good manager, a good person to work with. But they just need to get it going, don't they, and to get it clicking. From the season you had last year, where you came so close to getting back into the playoffs, to where you are now, it's disappointing, isn't it? And but no, I hope Forest do get back up. It'd be good to see him back in the Premier League. It's been too long since they've been in the Premier League. A good traditional English club, really, with a good history, and it'd be nice to see him getting back into the Premier League.
Before we go, I forgot to touch on you played for Wales. You made 12 appearances for Wales. Your first game against Hungary, what was it like just getting a call up for Wales squad?
Yeah, it was a great experience, wasn't it? It was my debut. I think it was 2004 or 5. It might be 2005, I think. And I think we beat Hungary 2-0. I came on second half. I think I'm a little handy. I played the ball through for Craig Bellamy. I'm not sure. I think I remember playing the ball in, and so to get out there to get your first cap and to feel part of it was nice. Down at the Millennium Stadium as well, and it was a good experience. Yeah, good.
I spoke to other Wales players like David Phillips. If you know David Phillips, he played for Forest Night 4, and I know he had a frosty relationship with John Tossack. Did you have a bit of an up and down relationship with John Tossack? Yeah,
I did. Yeah, a little bit, to be fair. He gave me my debut. It was his first time back in charge, I think, and so I think it was to do with more. So I'd been playing regular back when it was up at Sunderland, and playing regular in the Premier League that season, and just to get down there, and he used to meet you in the hotel in the reception area. So when I think we just played Spurs up here on the Saturday, and I think I played every minute of every game, and then got down into the hotel, and as you walked in, he said, "Hiya, Danny, okay? Have you been playing up there?" So you know what I mean. I think it's a bit, manager of your country asking you if you've been playing. So I thought, well, and then it was just one of the games where I was on the bench and I didn't get on, and I think someone who played in my position had been sat on the bench in the Championship and was playing in front of me. So perhaps a little bit headstrong of me, as I just thought, am I wasting my time here, really? So I just had a few, after the game, we got back to the hotel, I just said, "Oh, John, listen, if you don't want to pick me for any more squads at the minute, it's fine with me. I'll happily concentrate on playing for Sunderland." And that was that. I was out of the squad for the next 3 or 4 years while he was in charge. So until I think Brian Flynn came back in, and then Gary Speed, give us a call and said, "Come back in." I said, "Yeah, of course I will." Yeah. So yeah, disappointing looking back that, for 3-4 years out of the squads where, we've perhaps got a few more caps under my belt, but nevertheless, good experience, 12 caps for my country and some good memories.
Do you miss playing football, Danny?
Yeah, I do to some extent. Yeah, you hear people retire. It's been a year and a half, I think, now since I've retired, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you miss it," and you do miss the training ground banter, going in every day and the training side, and then that I think more so now is because I'm doing, the commentary for Sunderland's games, and when I'm sat there at 3 o'clock when they come out the tunnel, I think, I could get my boots back on now and have a game. That's probably more the times where you realise that you do miss it. But at the same time, I'm 40 now, turned 40 in the summer. So there's got to be a time where you hang the boots up, really. So that was me. But at the same, thankfully as well, that I'm still involved with football and going straight into the media side of the game, which I'm enjoying.
But Danny, like I said, last but not least, who was your? I don't know how many goals you scored. What was your favourite goal as a football player?
As a football player,
favourite goal.
You know what? It's funny because I remember all the goals I scored with my head, and I've never scored one. And I was chatting the day before. I got one for Rotherham. It was off a corner, but it was a volley at the far post. And I literally that day before, I think, saying we were in training working on corners. And I said, I've never scored with my foot. And lads were like, really? And then literally, I was in that. It was at Rotherham. So that was a nice one. But for Forest, my header down at Ipswich I enjoyed that one as well. It was a good outswinger from Foxy. Got up well and it nestled in the top right corner. So that was a nice one. But the one down at Brighton at the Amex was, as I say, more enjoyment in that because I've been out the team, which was a nice feeling to not only get my boots back on, but to go out there and to score was a good feeling.
Right, Danny, this is the show, but you know what? Thank you for taking your time for
no problem
for my channel. I know that Sunderland they've not got a few games up there due to what's happening at the moment. But Danny, thank you very much for taking your time for coming on my channel. I hope hope yourself and your family have a great Christmas. But people, if you did enjoy it, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. But like I said, Danny, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas and I hope you have a fantastic New Year.
And to you. Okay, thanks very much. No problem.
Thank you very much, Danny. Hope to see you
Cheers,
soon.
mate. Thanks.